Today we're going to be doing Amsti 6.1, where we are looking at how does the temperature of water affect evaporation and condensation. So I'm going to show you the setup that we have for this experiment, and you are going to make your predictions on what you think will happen when we rub an ice cube and then our hands on the outside of a bottle that has hot water and then one that has cold water. Okay. Okay, so here's our setup. I have two different bottles. This one is going to be the cold water, and this one is the hot water. Okay, and our water for the hot is supposed to be between 50 and 60 degrees Celsius. And we are right at like 49.9. So that's where our starting point is according to the thermometer. I'm going to go ahead and pour this water into our bottle and put a lid on it. Okay, remember you're supposed to make a prediction. What do you think will happen when I put an ice cube on the outside of the bottle that has the hot water and also on the outside of the bottle with the cold water? Our cold water is not quite at the temperature that it needs to be, but we're going to go ahead and do it anyway. It is at 17.5 degrees Celsius, and it's supposed to be between 20 to 30 degrees Celsius, but we're going to go ahead and use it because it'll still do what we need it to do. Okay, so you're supposed to make your prediction, what you think will happen with the cold water bottle when we put an ice cube on the outside of it and then put our hands on the outside of it. Okay. So, after you've made your predictions, then you're going to write down in your observations, okay? So, here's our ice cube right here, and I'm going to come around to the front. I'm going to do the hot water first, okay? I'm going to bring it close to the camera so you can see this is nothing but hot water. Okay. And I have put an ice cube on the outside of the bottle. And I'm holding it on there. And I can tell the ice is melting very quickly. It's dripping down the side of the bottle. And we should have a little bit of condensation on the inside, but we'll have to open it up and see. Okay, I'm going to put this ice back in here. And now You rub your palms on the outside of the bottle. You can see some of the condensation and evaporation at the top is kind of clearing up. Okay, I don't know how well you can see that, but there's a place right here where I've been rubbing, where the bottle is now clear instead of fogged up. Okay, and then on the other side where I had the ice, if we look on the inside, we can see that there's definitely some water droplets. There's definitely some water droplets on the inside. And of course, the ice melted going down the side of it because the water's hot. Okay, now let's do the cold. Okay. So this is our cold water. You can see it's not fogged up at all, okay? And I'm going to apply the cold ice to one side. Kind of rub it on there. Okay, and if you can see, we've gotten a little bit of evaporation on the inside, a little bit of condensation. So that means that the temperature of the ice is colder than the temperature of the water on the inside. Now I'm going to take my hand on the other side and I'm going to rub it. See what it does. Okay, it doesn't look like it's doing much, but if I go on the side where the condensation was and I rub with my palm, let's see if it'll clear up. It's hard to hold it with a wet hand. Let's see if we can get it, warm it up a little bit. It is. The warmness from my hand is clearing up the condensation that was on the inside. Okay? Now let's go back and take a look at your analysis questions. Okay, so down here, okay, there's where you put your observations on page 2. Okay, analysis number 1 says, were you able to change the amount of evaporation and condensation that occurred inside your bottles? And if so, how? So I want you to tell me what you observed when you saw that happen. And then number 2, in which bottle did you observe the most evaporation and condensation, and why do you think this happened? Okay, so there's your 2 analysis questions. Then down here, there we go. Okay, you've got 2 vocabulary words, condensation and evaporation. We've had them before, but just go ahead and do them again just to have them clear in your mind. And then for your conclusion, I want you to write me a paragraph, which is 3 to 5 sentences, on your predictions and your observations. And make sure that you start your question or start your paragraph with your question. So rewrite your question. So the first sentence of your conclusion is going to be, how does the temperature of water affect evaporation and condensation? Then I want you to tell me what your predictions were, and then tell me what your observations were. And then that will be your conclusion, and that will be the end of your lab.